Hello again, I'm still at the park. As promised, I'm going to continue my dharma and karma conversation because I believe it'll be helpful to somebody. I previously mentioned that it was Dolores Cannon that I first heard say that when we have children, we create karma. And I was like, you know what? I can understand that, especially if you don't know nothing and you're still repeating the same generational mistakes and challenges that were previously in the dynamic of your family and your bloodline. Absolutely sure. But I also believe that we can determine that karma can be transmuted to dharma via the things that we do that's different for our children that was done to and for us. It is beneficial in some way. We don't necessarily have to create karma. That is my belief on the subject. We can take our time to iron ourselves out. We got some spiritual wrinkles, some mental wrinkles, and hang-ups and hold-ups. We can create through those children love, support, honor, all these things. I don't think I know that the challenges I think were too great for myself and my previous partner to get 100% to the place that we wanted to get to with our own children. And I wish that he and I both had more support in that. But that what it coulda, shouldas don't change nothing. We gotta go with what we got right now. And we got right now, I think that's one of the biggest reasons why grandparents are so sweet to their grandchildren. It's because they see all the things they didn't know with their own children, and they're trying to do better. I see that from I'm experiencing it now from a very visceral perspective, and so is he. Even though we had our challenges, we did things so different than everybody else, I think. And this is a side street, so just go with it. Like, we're able to be supportive of each other at this time and be friendly with each other at this time. Because one thing I did keep solid, and he tried to for the most part, was that no matter how difficult and challenging things got, we tried to always be honest with each other. And when things got hard, no matter what our crap was, we had each other's back. I think that's what salvaged us having a good friendship at this point. Now, I'm not saying there ain't no challenges within that. I'm just saying we're able to be there for each other in a very real way because of that. Hell, say is do things different. We knew we were heading towards the end of all the years together, being friends, being parents, being married. We knew before anybody else, and that was nobody else's business, but we still wanted to celebrate that because we had made it to 20 years. We knew. We were already in the process of splitting up potentially when we renewed our vows. It wasn't about being married to one another. It's about celebrating. No different than it's like a wedding and a funeral. We're celebrating all that we did. We were able to accomplish up to that point with all the challenges in tow. And so we threw a big shindig. And I guess when people look back, it's like, what the hell was that for then? Well, it's okay for us to celebrate. We never did get a wedding. And part of him wanted to make amends to me for all the things he had known that he put me through. He put our children through. It was like, I can do something. I can help you with something on the way out if that's what's going to happen. And I just wanted a big celebration because I never got to have that. It's not something I needed. It's something that I dreamed of. And I wanted to have as many loved ones there as possible to celebrate with us. 20 years of making it happen. And we did that from being kids. And that was very unheard of, especially nowadays. I think a lot of y'all get the kick out of this. Our groomsmen were all in superhero costumes, and our bridesmaids were all in steampunk. And I know that sounds weird, but it turned out lovely. One of my friends, one of our mutual friends, well, mostly his because they were in the service together, showed up as Wolverine with real claws. and he used his claws to do the cake cutting for us. It was so fun. And and that was towards the end, and we already knew it was towards the end, but we still wanted to end not as enemies, but as something, as still family. I think we managed that in a lot of ways. Anyway, I don't even know how I got on that tangent. Again, I done told y'all before, if a thought leaves you, if it's important enough, it'll come back. Let me go back to talk about this karma dharma situation. With our children specifically, there were times where I just, like, I look back on them like, oh, I wish I would have done that different. But I can't change what was. I can only do something with what is. So I do my best with that. I'm glad that I got to a space of healing so many things that I don't have to live in grief and worry and self-doubt and all those things anymore, because I used to always live with it. Without foundation to turn to. A lot of the things that I did medically for myself when I've had illnesses wasn't things I wanted to do. It was things I was determined to do, because I was determined to survive, so my children would never have to go through childhood, at least without me, no matter how challenging life could be for them. Like, you have me. Even the times you don't want me, you have me. You're my top priority. You always will be. And they know that. Just having that, I think, growing up would have made a huge difference for me. So that was my determination. I'm going to be here regardless. And I'm going to keep fighting and struggling to be the best version of myself, no matter what the circumstances are. I don't matter how challenging it is. I'm going to keep fighting. Even if I show you what it looks like on the other side. So one day you get there and you have a little bit of a guide to get to your healing too. At least that's the goal. And if anybody else gets a benefit from it, great. That's it. But we have the opportunity to create love within those beings. And then those beings, because they feel the vibration of love, can be love on this earth. It doesn't have to be karmic. I had briefly said, like, in just the previous video, right before this one, and that's part one, that karma and dharma causes me to feel, it causes me to expand. Learning about karma and dharma from the Hinduistic perspective helped me see things a little bit clearer, and it helped me, encouraged me to look at other religious sources. I was already doing that, but mostly in the Western hemisphere. It caused me to look at Tao, for example. That's not necessarily a religion, it's a school of thought. It caused me to look at other schools of thoughts, and then put the whole thing together in a nice little gumbo pot that, ooh, somebody play some good music. It caused me to put it in a nice little gumbo pot and say, you know what? It's okay to think differently, believe differently, or perceive differently. And that's what led me to, well, if we can, in some way, ooh, there is the cutest little bug. I wish I could show you. Hold on, let me see if I can show y'all. Look at it. Look at that bug. Sorry. It looks like a little dust bunny, but it's moving. I'm sorry. Squirrel. But if we can figure out, well, if Earth is sometimes challenging and tragic, but also beautiful and hopeful, what if both hell and hell are with us always? How we behave within our environment can determine that for ourselves. It's not just after death, as some dogmatic religions and Abrahamic religions believe. Because if we expand our mind in a way, and you don't have to, this is just, again, a thought experiment or just entertainment for you, whatever the case may be, but this is where I landed at, okay? We understand that we keep coming back into these lives, if that's one of the things you believe in or beginning to perceive. We keep coming into these lives to try to work our things out with each other. Isn't that our retribution for having a life not 100% well lived? Not making our amends before we close our eyes. We got to come back here potentially and redo it all over again. Isn't that possible, or even plausible a little bit, that our hell is here in our carnation, in our meat suits. But it don't have to be that. Now, see, that's the part where I'm like, you can be the creator. Create something good. So if you don't want to have challenges in life, maybe you don't have to. Now, we can all have some challenges. Without some challenges, we have no grit. Animals and plants will take over quick. So we always going to have those. But you don't have to turn into a monster because of it. I'm a living example. If nothing else, I'm a living example that you don't have to turn into a monster no matter what happens to you. You say, well, all these people did these horrible things to me. I get to be horrible. You get to be. You got free will. But just because you, Chris Rock said it best. You can drive a car with your feet if you want to. That don't mean you should. And that's one of the proudest things I have the authority to stand on. Yes. And if you don't believe that, and it's your first time sitting with me and listening for a spell or chatting with me, go back and listen to them videos previous to this. Get them pieces and snippets of stories of my life and know that I haven't told you everything. And when I say I haven't told you everything, that means there's some horror show stories in there that I have yet to talk about. Because I pick my battles, and if it's not, Joan told me. Joan is one of the counseling center's directors when I was in school. And one of the biggest takeaways from her was, if it's not beneficial to the client, then don't share it. So unless it can be beneficial in some way, or if I can teach something from it, ain't no point in me sharing it just to share it. Well, I need everybody to know something happened to me that was bad, or I need everybody to know somebody did something to me that was bad. Okay, maybe that's cathartic for you, but it's not for me. I need to figure out a lesson in it. I need to figure out how I can teach somebody something from it. Otherwise, I ain't sharing it. Mostly because I can't. It's one of the things, I don't know if I have to work on it or not, but I'm not choosing to at this time. I do not super enjoy or love anybody looking at me with pity. Or like, oh, poor thing. I don't. No. I'm a warrior. I'm a fighter. I'm a survivor. Don't you dare ever look at me with pity. I didn't survive too much to be pitied. So, like, sharing stories just to share them is not my bag. I think I'm in a better position now to share my stories than I was when I first started trying. I was so angry. I didn't make that clear. I was so angry. I was just pissed off with a lot of things. Like, I have lived a life where I tried my best to be the best version of myself, and no matter how I tried to do that, it was always something. And this was the last straw kind of thing. And there's no such thing as a last straw. I see that now. Because if it was the last straw, we wouldn't be here having this wonderful conversation on this beautiful day. I guarantee you. I still have more in me. I still have something left in me to give, to share, to teach, to love, to experience joy. I hadn't yet fully experienced joy in my life. Not in a real sense. I had moments of joy. Like when I saw the face of my children for the first time. The best moments of my life. I know that's cliche. It's some of the best moments of my life. Because all the worry, concern, the fear, the anxiety from the idea of being a parent, thinking I was never going to be one, and to have multiple children when I'm still a children myself, knowing I don't have any support. Like, there was not a community of support around me. I have family, but they was all spread out, and I was disjointed and disconnected from them. Like, I often tell people my family was like the Montagues and the Capulets. After what happened with my mother and father, even that wedding I told you about, a lot of them didn't show up because they wasn't sure that the other side was going to show up, and they happened a lot for me. There was a lot of significant events where nobody showed up because they wasn't sure who was going to show up. And they avoided each other as much as possible, which meant me and my siblings didn't have familiar support in that way that we could have had. Like, my daddy didn't just take away my mother, he took away my family on both sides in a lot of ways, as they othered us. We were just like those kids that happened to. And when we would go around people, when we did have opportunity to go around people, they would show us love. There was always this underlying thing of animosity that we had nothing to do with, that we had to experience on either side. It's not like we did it, but because we were she's gone. Because we were, his life was taken from him, at least in some circles that felt that way. I'm like, no, he took it from himself. And he's still alive and kicking, remarried and everything. I don't see what he lost. We lost everything. And we had to rebuild over and over again. I know I did. Again, I told y'all before, I used to think I hated him. I don't. I just don't have anything for him. And I think that if I'm gonna go with the ideas that I'm talking about today, I'm certain that he coming back again as an Aries or something. He gonna start that 12 all over again. And it's not 12 lifetimes. No, you can be an Aries for several lifetimes until you figure it out and be the highest form of Aries before you move on to Taurus. By definition of, according to astrology and some forms of Hinduism, you will come back here and relive until you get it right. And then you can move on to the next level. That's why a lot of the old souls are between Scorpio and Pisces. Sun sign. But you have different things and different levels in your charts. You literally have to progress your entire chart. I know I'm delving into astrology, but just give me a moment. Because it goes along with everything. It's like, so what, you got to Pisces at Venus? So what? If your sun sign didn't progress, your Venus is probably going to be in Aries next time. You're going to start that over again. You mastered that. Or maybe you'll come in with a Pisces stellium next time where you've mastered that energy so much you spread it over different aspects of your chart. That's what stelliums come from, my assessment. It's like you've mastered some aspect of yourself and you get to bring those tools in with you to the next life. Like I told y'all in the last video, look, I often said my Pisces Venus is a blessing and a curse, because it's very hard pressed to get me not to see somebody's life, no matter how awful they are behaving. I see a light inside of you. And not for nothing, and this is definitely a side street. You know, people talk about NPCs and whatnot. I'm like, you know what? There might be. I can't tell you for certain there isn't. But I also believe in spark. Creating a spark within someone. So they grow something or they wake up to something. And I don't think anybody's a throwaway person or someone that's just relegated to the background. You don't have to be that. At any moment in time, a background character can move forward and decide that they want to be sentient and a part of the world. So if they're just giving up on life and just working whatever 9 to 5 they have and just going along to get along and not really living, one day, the next day they can say, you know what? This is not what I want for myself. And it's suddenly alive. I believe in that too. So I never treat anybody like as if they don't matter. I don't recommend you do it either. Anyway, I think that not just with children, whether you choose to have children or not, that's up to you. I currently don't recommend anybody making any more people. At least not for right now. Not until we solve a lot of the issues that are plaguing our society. Let's go with it. I'm just going to give you a quick little rundown. 1, women's health care is not anybody else's business but women. Because as I previously stated in a previous video, there were things that I was dealing with, challenges I was dealing with that right now, not even that long ago, if I had the same challenges, I'd be dead. Because nobody would help me. Nobody would serve me. And if I tried to get help for myself so I wouldn't die, I would go to prison. That shouldn't be a thing. Okay? That's not what's meant to happen. Okay? And if we're going to say that all lives are sacred, I think it's as simple, and I ain't the first person to say it. If all life is sacred, then the lives that are living are sacred. That means our foster care system needs to be revamped. And we need to understand advocating for more foster parents as opposed to more creation of human beings. Because nobody seems to care once they become a teenager. Nobody's fostering teenage kids. You just have more workers going into the system. The foster care system is traumatizing children left and right. And if they become adults and somehow make it out of that without being addicted to something to numb their pain, they go straight into the service industry in the lowest possible state. In other words, you're in fast food, making minimum wage, barely making a living. So if we care about our life, then we'd have a living wage across the board. I mean, determining on the cost of living in your state a person would be making enough to be able to pay the average rent. On top of the fact that rent wouldn't go up arbitrarily every year. It wouldn't be allowed. It would be illegal. Like, unless your costs of running this building has gone up, which it shouldn't. There should be subsidies for that. There's subsidies for big banks and big businesses. There's subsidies for housing, where the rent is what the rent is. And it stays that way for a long period of time until the wages go up, the rent will go up, the utilities don't go up. You're literally killing people just with e-commerce. Until we can solve that, then we shouldn't be making more human beings to suffer. That is creating karma out of nothing. We don't have to create that karma. And when I say we, I'm saying the collective we, the societal we. Until we can solve that, I am never going to advocate for somebody to make more humans. Now, if you do, they're cute, and I'm going to love on them if I ain't come to them. Of course. But I'm not going to advocate for you to do that until we solve those problems. Until we solve the socialization of racism and how comfortable some people are with being horrible to each other based on nothing but skin. That is so weird. It's a weird thing some of y'all are doing at this day and age of evolution. Oh, that music, I'm sorry. It got me. Yes. Freaky Belly Maze. That's church right there. But yeah, like, immigrants shouldn't be here. Well, if immigrants were never here, again, I didn't say it before, your food would be very not seasoned. Some herbs and seasonings came from different cultures sharing with one another, a lot of times in a loving way. Okay, stay your butt. If you feel that way, stay your butt out of every Asian restaurant, stay your butt out of every Korean restaurant, Japanese, and all the different types and styles of Asian food. Stay your butt out of all the different types and styles of South American food, Mexican food. Stay your butt out of Jamaican restaurants. Stay your butt out of Haitian restaurants. Stay your butt away from pizza and pasta. Just go ahead. You can't even eat rice. That's just one of the many things different cultures coming together bring together. Even sometimes it's the dyes that you use for your clothes that came from Eastern civilizations. Some of it was here with the natives. They dyed their clothes too with natural ingredients from nature. A lot of things we teach each other because of cross-culturalism. And we wouldn't have none of that beauty without that. It's not just about taking jobs that nobody wants, because those people are valuable too, intelligent too, quite capable too. But they spring in crime. We already got crime. And if we want to talk about the thing that's plaguing our society, and especially in this country the most, it is mass shootings. And then none of them get deported. None of their families get deported. The good thing is a lot of these people are being held accountable, and their parents being held accountable for putting guns in the hands of people that shouldn't have guns. But then again, let's go talk about it. We still haven't done anything about the gun issue because it was making too much money. E-commerce is killing us. In every possible way, it's killing us. It's killing our society. Like, if it's the most profitable thing, let's do it. Another reason why I'm not on TikTok is this is one big advertisement at this point. Outside of the things I've already said. Something that was meant to get the most information across the most places so that people can possibly evolve has devolved into one big ass commercial for different companies. And you're taking our youth. Well, at least we don't have to work menial jobs. You're right. They're not wrong about that. Because if they went out of society and got a 9-to-5 and people complain, oh, they're making all this money from being out there for advertisements. Well, if you paid them a livable wage to work a job with their hands, or that has skill mentally or physically, then maybe they wouldn't do that. So them same people you're trying to kick out is the same people that's going to prop this country up in all the ways. Because most immigrants migrate, just like human beings have always Migration only happens because someone is determined to survive, not necessarily take. And that's the truth of the matter. We can resolve that too. Also resolve the fact that we spend so much money on war that what are we preserving? When the youth are experiencing a mental health crisis, when our foster care system that's supposed to be a safety net for children without parents is in disarray, and it's not getting better necessarily. So what are you protecting? The future? If you're protecting the future, you spend less money on war, and you send less of them to war. We experience less poverty when our people are of the forefront of importance. Like we actually care about what happens to mostly our children. Like Tupac said it best. If there's no hope for the children, there's no hope for the future. He says if there's no hope for the youth, the truth is there's no hope for the future. And we've talked about this a few times. One of the reasons that got me talking again, because I stopped giving a damn about talking or doing anything or posting or anything like that. Every now and again I'll still post and say some stuff, but really, I was like, let humans do what they do. I'm just going to live my life, honey. My heart was broken about, I would say a month and a half, 2 months ago. I realized that children are more likely to die based on violence in this supposedly the greatest country on earth. Can we do something about that before we start keep encouraging people to create that karma? Because they only create karma because if it's born out of trauma from two people who have been perpetually traumatized and unsupported by community and society, that's what they're going to create. We don't have to create hell on earth, honey. We can collectively get together and decide we're not going to do that. Every child is special. Every single child is special, no matter what they look like. No matter what their parents look like. No matter what their parents got going on. We don't throw those children away. We love on them whenever we see them. We become a community again. That's how we solve a lot of the problems. We become a community again and surround it around our children. It's so weird when you turn 35, and you realize some of the kind people in your life or some of the people you looked up to were that age when you were a kid, and you thought they were so much older and had it together, and you realize you're still the child that you were, just older and a bigger body. But what we do know is we can be a safe haven for children all day, all the time. Even if you determine that children is not in the cards for you and you don't want none. Right now, that'd be wise. But if you don't want none, okay, cool. But be a safe place for children when you see them. Always smile at them. I don't care if they acting an ass in the restaurant. I know sometimes you want to get out of slipper and just pop them one. That's a baby. That baby don't know nothing no more than what it's taught. It's not that child's fault. So you smile at them anyway. You show them love anyway. You keep a little treat in your pocket. Now, you can't always give kids candy because, the adults have done some things over the last century that devolved into some really ugly things. So we can't just give children stuff nowadays because somebody might think something. But if you see them, be kind to them. All the time. They'll never forget it. Children's memories are long. You don't know what they got going on at home either. Be something. Be somebody to them that they can say, I remember that person. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, there are people that I've met along my journey that has helped me continue to love and have hope. It brought me out of the darkness. And I don't begrudge myself my darkness anymore. I used to. I did for a good little minute there. I begrudged myself my darkness. Like, that darkness was born out of somewhere, child. It is there to protect you. Now, learn how to use that in a way that is protective and not harmful to yourself. And then you're cooking with oil. But the reason why I can still have light and still have love and still have hope and still have joy is because I remember the adults that smiled at me. I remember the adults that took me to the side sometimes and said, it's okay if you do better. You want me to help you? I remember the adults that gave me compliments when I really needed it. Look how beautiful you look today. Because I hadn't been called beautiful and I can't remember. And I was 8 years old. Tell them they're beautiful all the time. Now, I'm not an advocate for everybody getting a trophy. No, earn your trophies. That's where the line goes. Like, make them earn everything they get. Because otherwise, you end up with a bunch of people as adults that don't understand that there's balance. There must be balance and fairness in all things. And they don't have no grit. So, no, I'm not an advocate for giving everybody trophies. Sometimes your feelings going to be hurt. That means that you have a fire lit under you to do better next time if you want that trophy. However, no matter what the outcome is, you did a good job. You tried your best, and I'm proud of you. Period. That's it. Like, it don't have to be, children don't have to be a karmic situation. The earth doesn't have to be a karmic situation. We can create the heaven that we seek, but we just gotta want to. And it doesn't come from judging one another and saying, well, my religion is better than yours and my belief structure is better than yours and we have different gods, so you're going to HE double hockey sticks and I'm not because you don't believe in the one true God. I'm like, if we can conceive of it, perceive it, it is real, and whatever is determined through that person's understanding, knowledge, and culture is also real. You don't get to deny them that because you decided. I know the book that there's a lot of books that say a lot of things. Can you just be a person and be human and be fair and be balanced and understand that source energy is love? Love does not hurt. Do you understand? Hear that? Love don't hurt. So you don't have to hurt somebody's feelings or feel like you're stepping on a pedestal on top of them, or they're not able to stand beside you because they have a belief structure that is different than yours. You can just say, you know what, that person, I can love that person. It doesn't matter. Because it doesn't. Anybody that tell you different is not leading you to the light. I can guarantee. Now that, I don't believe is subjective, but you can believe what you want to believe. Kindness, love, healing, forgiveness. Let's stop there real quick. I think that's one of the most important points about turning karma to dharma. Is if you leave this world with karma still on your plate, and when I say karma, things you know damn well you've done, and you make amends for it, you ain't come clean about it, honey, it is my determination at this time, based on skills, knowledge, and all sorts of things that I've learned, still subjective to believe what you want to believe, that if we're going to go operate in this conversation with karma and dharma, you're going to have to come back and work that out with somebody. Now, I'm going to say this on the other end. Someone owes you an apology and amends and they don't do it. It's not for you to chase it. Don't ever do that. What you can do to balance that out so you ain't got to be working out nothing with nobody is clear your heart of anger. Clear your heart of anger through healing yourself. Forgive. Really, that's the crux of the matter is forgiveness is not always for them. Part of it's for them. But part of it's for you. So you, even in my darkness, I was like, I ain't gonna get back at none of them. Not for real. Because it got to a point where I had so much information and so much stuff where I could have eviscerated every single person that came from me at a certain point. And I was like, if I release all this information, receipts and all, as I released some receipts, don't get it twisted, but that was mostly self-defense because it was coming for your girl. But I didn't release everything. At a certain point, I healed enough and forgave enough. I was like, I don't want to hurt them. And also, I paid attention, watched out for them. I don't stalk anybody on social media or nothing like that. I don't see the point. I have no desire to give a damn about anybody's personal life that I don't no longer deal with or associate with on a regular basis. I talk about professionally. And if you're doing pretty decent work professionally and you're actually helping people in some kind of way, even if you're a shitty person in the personal life, in my assessment, I ain't coming for you. Because if you can do more good, without me saying nothing and taking that L, I'm going to take that L. Yeah. There were times where I've flip-flopped and gone back and forth about it, but that is my determination. But since I was going to determine that, and I just had come to a finality about it, I was like, I'm going to take my time and sit my butt down and heal this so I can let it go. But the more knowledge I gained over time from the different belief structures and schools of thought around the world, I was like, you know what's funny? If I actually take this time and heal myself, for the real way, not the fake way, but the real way, go through all of the shadows of myself, all the pain, the hurt, and the grief, and learn a way to laugh at some of the things and remember the good experiences I had with some of them people and go to that light and then move forward knowing what I do and do not want for myself and learn the lessons I learned and have them solid within me and not have to relearn them. Cool. But what's funny to me is if I truly heal and forgive, like truly do it and let it go, it's no longer mine. That ain't my karma, that's theirs. And I kind of think it goes double on them because I transmute it. I sent it away. Not in a, I sent it away from me. No, I actually had to work to send that away from me. That means working on that love of self, working on that forgiveness, working on that healing, working on telling myself what part I played in it and why did I play that part. Let's figure out where that came from. Let's heal that. And they're left in the hell of their own creation. But I choose to create heaven within me. And it's up here and in here. So when I go home to joy and light, surrender, peace, rest. And like, go home. This is in my mind, I imagine going home and say, you know, you never did forget that one person. You still was kind of petty about it. And you did this, and this because it was easier to you to be petty, to be spiteful. Being a bigger person does have merit. I don't want to have that conversation. That's in my mind's eye. But even if it's a conversation with myself, my higher self, I've had it often. Who am I? I am beautiful. I am love. I am joyful. I am peaceful. And in order for me to be those things for real, I have to create it within myself because ain't nobody was going to create it for me. Child, look, if you're looking for somebody else to create that for you, what happens when they go away? And that was part of my problem too. Because I've had friends and I've had romantic partnerships where I was like, okay, I feel better by myself because someone loves me. But the problem was, I didn't have enough self-love for myself to sustain me, regardless of what they do, in or out. I do now. Absolutely do. It's one of the most joyful experiences I've had in my entire life. Now, there are times when, like, I think I can use a partner, but it's not something that's going to make or break me. It's not going to determine whether I have a good day or not. It's just, take it or leave it. I'll be all right. And I think that sense of peace and well-being I've never had. I've never seen a woman specifically have in my bloodline. That I'm okay. I don't need to be attached to anyone to be okay. And also, I'm going to make a way by myself. You ain't trapping me in no relationship because you got all the money. You ain't trapping me in no relationship because we done made people. Nope. I'm going to be a free agent if I need to be a free agent to be happy. And that's not something I think I've ever seen in any side of my family. It's just being a free agent and being self-contained and self-sufficient with or without a partner. I've not seen it. And not just financially, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, well, all the way, by yourself. That, I'm the first one, huh? First one I know about. And I'm not to say I haven't come from a line of strong women, very strong women. I just have not yet seen any of them make that threshold where they were okay by themselves before they were with someone else. They were never afforded the opportunity to even have that, I don't think. Like, I admire my aunts in different ways because they have different pieces of me. I've learned different great things from them. But that was one of the things I had to learn on my own. It's how to be completely and utterly independent and knowing I'd be a good partner to someone without having to chase it or be that. Be a good partner to myself without having another human being there. It's been a challenging but fantastic experience. And I want that for my bloodline to continue. Like my Ami, I hope her mom teaches her all those things, but I think her mom will. I really do. I think Ami is not karma. I think Ami has every opportunity. Oh, y'all excuse me, I'm being a grandma right now. Has every opportunity to be as beautiful and effervescent as anyone who comes from a bloodline that had a lot of trauma that needs to be healed, and someone took the time to heal it, can have. Now, her mama and her auntie have some way to go to finish growing up the rest of the way, but I have faith that they will. I think she has a better chance than anybody in my bloodline in a very, very, very long time to be completely whole and healthy. And that brings me so much joy. So in that, I'm saying several things. This place can either be hell or this place can be heaven. This place can be the garden or it can be the den. Human beings determine that by their behavior. Every little thing you do that is good to the environment and good to the people around you creates a little bit more heaven. You don't ever think that something you do that is an act of kindness, a genuine act of kindness, doesn't matter, because it creates a wave of vibration that spreads throughout you. Little G's, some of you managed to figure out how to be big G's. Good on you. And the only difference between the two is one is creating a small wave of vibration that impacts their environment, and the other one is creating a larger wave of vibration that not only impacts their environment, it impacts the environment of others that in no way serves them. They're doing it just for the creation of heaven on earth, for no other reason other than that. Doesn't mean you're perfect. You're going to have days where you cuss somebody out. You might have days where you have some road rage. I hope not. But this is not perfection. This is just, right now, I am choosing to create something beautiful. And tomorrow, I might cuss somebody out. Who knows? Who knows, child? I'm going to try not to. But today, with the sun on my face, I choose to say and tell you, this is going to be a selfish statement, so let me have it for a moment. Thank you for indulging me. I did not experience hell and then transmute that to find hope and love so everybody can give up. I'm going to keep cheerleading until y'all stop. Some of y'all stop giving up and realize that the world is what we created. Maybe there is no hell to go through other than here. Consider for a moment. And you determine whether it's going to be heaven or hell. Your beliefs, I'm not saying it in an insulting way, but listen to me closely. Your beliefs are great, but it's not everything. What is everything is what you create while you're here, within yourself and within your environment. You see trash on the ground, pick it up, even if nobody see you. Matter of fact, it's the things that nobody see a lot of the time that create the most light, that nobody know about, that create the most light. You ain't got to tell nobody. Just do the kind thing. Just do the thing that helps your environment. Just smile at a child, because they're the heaven creation. Hell, even if you don't believe nothing else I said today, consider for a moment, the more love you give to children is the more heaven you have to come back to if you got some karma to repay next time around. Now, this is not trying to get me to get y'all to believe in reincarnation or nothing like that, but it's just as plausible as heaven and hell, is it not? And my assessment is more plausible. And I don't say do it for a selfish reason. If I'm good to them, it's like it's like some people not being the greatest of parents and then later on deciding for the reasons that I don't want to go to old folks home and start straightening my shit out, or a father or a mother that never been around their kids, never raised their kids, suddenly show up when they start getting old because they get lonely and they don't want to die alone. It don't work like that, children. It don't work like that. Be good to them always. Anyways, whether you believe a damn thing I said or not today or not, be good to them, because they create the heaven or the hell that we talk about in our books. You are all creators. The most precious creators are the ones that are young. Because if you put ugly in there, you see all that is around the world right now. You do ugly things to them, they eventually gonna grow up to be in control and creating everything that we all collectively in some forms have agreement about is a problem, regardless of what we think is the cause of it or the solution is. Those opinions differ widely, but regardless of what you feel like is a problem, it started from how we treated the children of the generation that's creating it. Just saying that. Is it dharma or is it karma? Ask yourself that every single time you're interacting with a child. But true, also, and this is not born out of bias, what I'm about to say, how you treat the mothers of your children. Every mother, stop getting your butts up whenever you see a pregnant woman and give her a seat. Treat her like she's the goddess that she is. And when I say goddess, I mean this person is creating life. Regardless of what you feel about it as a person, that should be treated like the vessels that they are, the vessels of light that they are, the vessel of soul that they are. And to everybody out there, this is on a personal note. Feel how you feel about it. I don't care. To everybody out there that create, see, music is possibly healing, but it also can be damaging. And this is just a final note and a side note at the same time. You're creating music that calls women anything other than their name. Cut it out. You are part of the problem. I said what I said. But what if they're acting like, I don't give a shit what they're acting like. Be a man, take that lick, and not destroy people. Just saying. Especially the women who are creating life. Because everything you do to them trickles down to that soul inside. Everything they feel and experience and they're impacted by, that child experiences, and then they come into this world that is undetermined. If we spend at least one generation honoring women, truly honoring them, honoring every vessel that chooses to create life, and then every child, one generation it would take to reverse all this. Consider what I just said. You're loved.